Hi, I'm Bianca from ironinglab.com, and today we're going to be looking at one of the most common complaints when it comes to irons, and that's leaking. So there are 7 main reasons, and I don't mean to point out the obvious, but we're going to go through all these steps as a process of elimination. Now, the reason why leaking is so frustrating is because when that water spills, you can iron over it and it can dry up the water, but on some items like shirts or silk items, it leaves a watermark that can look a bit like leftovers of a stain. So it's a big time waster. You end up having to take that garment and either rewash it or spot treat it, and it's just frustrating. So we're going to cover these 7 reasons, and then you can work out why your iron's leaking and hopefully fix the problem permanently. So please like and subscribe for any more videos like this. And comment down below which iron you're using, because we'd like to know which irons are actually giving people problems, and maybe we can help you solve them. So the first reason why irons leak is overfilling. And yes, this does seem obvious, but in a lot of cases people will have a measuring jug and they'll know that their iron takes 10 or 12 ounces, and they'll take that water jug and fill up the iron without realizing that there's actually water in it from a previous ironing session. So just use your max line as your guideline. Ouch, that's hot. Use your max line here as your guideline, and then you're never going to have a problem. What happens if you overfill your iron? The water actually spills over and will leak out the bottom of your sole plate. Point number 2 is one of the most common reasons why irons leak, and that's insufficient heat. And I'm going to demo this for you. But basically what happens is the water in the water tank moves through into the heating chamber, and here the water gets converted into steam. To do this, it has to reach 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and if it doesn't, when you start to iron, instead of steam coming out, water comes out. And I'm going to demo this for you on an iron where I can actually duplicate the problem. Now, I can't do it on this iron because this conveniently has the heat setting and the steam setting combined, but I can do it on the Black & Decker Digital Advantage, which I'm going to show you. Okay, so we're still on point number 2. Now what we're going to try and duplicate is a leaking problem when the temperature of the iron is actually set lower, but the steam is set too high. Okay. If you can see here, because of the low temperature setting on the iron, but the high steam output, the heating chamber is not converting the water into steam, and so it leaves watermarks, or it leaks like you can see here. So the best way to avoid this problem is to simply wait for your indicated light to show that you're on the right heat setting and you have the right steam to match the temperature. And this brings me to point 3, which is turn your steam setting off at lower temperatures. So if you're working with acrylic or silk or polyester, make sure your steam is set off. You don't actually need the steam at these low temperatures, and all you're going to have is a bit of a mess because the water is going to come out instead of steam. Okay. Point 4 is to use the steam burst feature intermittently. Now you have 2 types of steam that come out of your iron. You've got variable steam, which is the normal steam that comes out of your iron as you're ironing, and you've got the steam burst. So when you get a particularly wrinkled area, you can apply the steam burst and a lot of steam will come out. So I'll demo that for you. Here you can see just the variable steam, which is set to cotton, so it's quite high. And then you get the steam burst, which is a lot more intense. If you can see that. So what you want to do is allow for a little break in between your bursts so that the pressure can build up in the heating chamber. Point number 5 is to use the correct water. And the best solution is 50% distilled water with 50% tap water. Now both Rowentas here, the Rowenta Focus and the Rowenta Steam Force, use tap water, but some areas have very high mineral content in the water, and that will cause limescale buildup in your iron. So that white chalky buildup or limescale creates a layer around the heating elements. So what will happen is when water goes into that heating chamber, it takes much longer to reach the right temperature because the heat needs to conduct basically through that layer. And in which case you start to use your iron, and your iron hasn't converted that water to steam, and therefore it leaks. Point 6 is to clean your iron regularly. So for the average household, I would recommend cleaning once a month. Now, a lot of irons have an automatic self-cleaning system built in. You can see there's a button here, and you can follow your instruction manual to see how to clean that. You basically heat up your iron, it must be filled with water, you hold it over a sink, you push the button in and you swirl it around. And the water will actually come out of the sole plates through the little holes, effectively getting rid of any limescale buildup that's in your iron. Number 7 is if you're noticing that your iron is leaking while in storage. So one of the main reasons is water that's left in the heating chamber cools down, and that will drip out the sole plate if it's stored like this. So the best thing is to store your iron on its heel. Another thing is to make sure it's empty. If you're going to be only using your iron once a week, take the water out, because the contact between the water and the working parts can cause corrosion. If after considering these last few points your iron is still leaking, you may be looking for a new iron, in which case I'll include a link to this iron in the description below. It's been a great iron to work with, and what I really love is it combines the heat and the steam setting in one dial, so it's really simple to use, and it has given me no problems when it comes to leaking. So thanks for watching.